Hello, I'm Julie and this is Seraphina.
Hello.
And this is Elegant Sufficiency.
Sarah.
An egg? Whose egg is this?
Lily.
Lily's egg. Do you want to give it to Daddy? So it's autumn now, I think by pretty much anybody's calendar in the Northern Hemisphere. We've just stepped into October, we've had the autumn equinox and you really are beginning to feel it in the air. Today especially it is quite overcast and cloudy and it's very windy here, and to be honest I think quite often when I do these videos it is windy. Well done sweetheart! I guess I just live in a really windy place. That was Seraphina just taking an egg in to her daddy from the coop. So what I want to do today is just give you an update, again warts and all, of where we're at in our garden, what our plans are for the coming month. Okay, so I will turn us around and I will show you what we've got. Now I have to be honest, things are really starting to look a little bit sad and tired, except for Seraphina, who is rarely either of those things. But as far as the garden goes, yeah, I do feel like, it's a little bit tired and run down. Hi, sweetheart. And there's an awful lot of work that needs doing now at this time of year. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I sort of gave up on a few things. I got to a point where I was not really as excited about doing some of the gardening jobs as I had been at the beginning of the year in spring. And I think that's partly down to the weather. And also things beginning to die off, and I think that's a lesson for me to learn for next year. I could probably get a little bit more life out of what I'm growing if I keep that commitment going right to the very end of its growing life. So a really good example of that is right here in the greenhouse, which I do have a sort of love-hate relationship with, or rather I think it has with me. There are times when what I'm doing in here is fantastic and really works, and then there's times when it doesn't do so well, and those times are absolutely down to my neglect. This is something that I have absolutely got to fix going into next year. This is what I'm talking about. I have basically just let these plants die. It's a real tragedy. If I'd kept up with the watering and the feeding and given them a bit more love, there's no reason why I couldn't have had really nice healthy plants right now and gotten a bit more out of this harvest. This is completely on me and something I really do need to work on for next year. That one is sort of hanging on. This one, I think its roots must be going out the bottom of the pot and down into the ground, because there is absolutely no other reason why this plant is still doing so well despite my best efforts to kill it. So, you know, hats off to that one, it found a way. I've had my last glut of tomatoes that are just sprawling across here. I'm going to go through that today and just pick out the ones that are good. Might take some of the green ones in to ripen. There's a couple of split ones, but not that many. And on this side, I've ripped out most of the things that were growing in here because they really had gone. I've kept the peppers just to see, out of curiosity, how many of those are going to mature. I know more experienced gardeners are probably thinking, just take out the smaller ones and the bigger ones will do well, and I probably will do that today. And this basil, the more you hack it, the more it wants to grow. It's fantastic. It's done really, really well. So that was a little look around at how things are in the garden at the moment. It is getting cold, so I'm going to put my coat on and I'm going to get to work sorting out the jobs that I know need doing to take us into the autumn. these are actually really easy to take out. So even when the beds look really weedy and I know that I've left it too long, which to be honest with me is pretty frequent, I know that when I do stop pulling them I can get quite a good length of root coming out, and that's because I'm not tilling the soil, I am just adding a mulch of compost on the top, and that compost is actually quite nice and loose, so it allows me to kind of give it a little wiggle and pull, and you can get quite a lot out with it. My aim is not to eradicate all the weeds. I'm not going to win that battle. What I need to do is get better at weeding more frequently, if I'm being fair, but what I'm hoping to do is just manage them really well. If you do pull these weeds fairly frequently, then you are going to weaken the root system and you are going to get on top of it. And then next year it won't be quite as big a job so long as you carry on pulling them as you see them. Whereas if I was to go and turn over all the soil and dig it all up, thinking that I'm going to try and get all of it out, everything's coming out, I simply won't succeed. What I will probably end up doing is just breaking up tiny little bits that just kind of come off and get lost in the soil, and I'll be spreading it and multiplying it and making it worse. I always think of Mickey Mouse in The Sorcerer's Apprentice. You know that moment where he just grows his problem exponentially by chopping up into little pieces? That's weeding by digging. Don't do that. Don't do what Mickey Mouse did. Hey Kira pup. This is not a dog toy. So, like I say, my problem is me. My problem is that I need to get out there and weed a little bit more frequently than I do. But at least when I do it, it's not that big a deal. You are determined to lose your fingers, Seraphina. All the weeds and the bits we don't need. So as you can see, I've thinned them out quite significantly as well as weeding them. And that should give the ones left an opportunity to thrive. I think we've still got enough daylight for the next few weeks for these to keep growing, and then they should slow down over the winter. Do you like that one?
I like it.
You can have it.
Do my dog.
So here we go. All the old squishy tomatoes and weeds and bits from there. Pulled most things out. The bed just needs a quick once over in case there's any bindweed. and then a nice thick mulchy compost. We're going to stop here and call it a day because we've done quite a bit of work, haven't we, Serafina? Yep. And thumbs up, and we're going to do more tomorrow, so we don't have to rush and get it all done in one go, but we've made a really good start, and at least now when I look out the kitchen window I'm not going to feel quite so guilty about all the weeds creeping up and all the end of year jobs that need doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.